Miller, and in studio this morning I have Dr. Sylvia Wilks. She is the founder of the Cayman Islands Youth Development Consortium, and we are going to be talking about an inspiring topic, which is all about the upcoming Youth Day, slated for February 1st. It's a day dedicated to celebrating and empowering the youth of our community. Dr. Wilks, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm awesome. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. This is our first discussion ever,
Yeah.
and I've known your name around
Okay.
Cayman for a long time, so it's finally nice for me to put a face to the name.
Thank you, Kenny.
Yeah, no problem. So Youth Day, February 1st, coming up.
Yes.
Let us know. What are the important details that we should know off the bat?
Okay, so Support Our Youth Month. Back in 2010, we asked the Premier at the time to acknowledge Support Our Youth Month in January. That is to bring awareness to all the things that help our young people to succeed. So it's called the Developmental Assets by the Search Institute in the U.S. So 20 of them are external, which is support of family, the community at large, and then 20 of them are internal. As they get older, young people are more responsible for their learning and positive values, etc. So the idea is to bring awareness to the community of all these things that help our young people to succeed. So when you ask, one of the first questions I ask, do you want our young people to thrive and succeed? And we always make mention of the village raising the child, but when you ask the question, how does the village raise the child? And is the village raising the child? Then this helps to answer that question.
Okay. So that's a question that you'll ask the youth as well?
Well, they need to be aware as well of what it is, what it will take for them to succeed as well. So we had just Monday, we had Planning for Youth Success Conference at Indigo with some students from Red Bay Primary, Sir John A. Cumber and Joanna Clark Primary School. And these are scholars. These are kids that are doing well already. They have the support, and they're doing really well because these were prefects, student council members, head boy, head girl. And I'm using them. I told them I need them to be the asset evangelist in their schools. So the idea was to get them to create a plan as well, how they would promote it within their school.
Okay.
So there's different there's different facets that I'm trying to cover. So school is a big place where our young people hang out because that's where they are mostly for a long time during the day. So that was important for that aspect of it. But also the community needs to be aware of what these principles are. So it's very important, this event that's coming up.
Can you share what some of those principles are that the community we should be on top of, really?
Yeah, so the first set of assets is support, right? So that is where family life provide high levels of love and support. Positive family communication. So when you ask young people, is it easy for you to speak to your family about, important issues? Most of them will raise their hand. But then when you ask them, okay, can you talk to them about sex and violence and drugs? They're like, not really. But it's very important to be able to speak to your family about anything, pretty much. Then you have caring school climate, parent involvement in school, caring neighborhood. And then you have empowerment assets, which is like community values youth as resources, giving them useful roles in their communities, not just with organizations, but within their communities itself, giving them useful things to do. And when you think of what our young people need later on in life, they need opportunities to build their skills.
Yes.
So the more they're involved in these things, the more they're building their skills as well. Safety is an asset. And then there's 40 of them.
Right.
But these are the external. The ones that we're focusing on this year is constructive use of time. And when you think of the criminality report, the Yolanda Ford criminality report, one of the things that they flagged is that those who end up in criminality were not involved in pro-social activities. So constructive use of time includes creative activities like theater, arts, sports, youth program, religious community, and even spending time at home is under constructive use of time. So we're focusing on that this year. So one of the things that the young people had to do was come up with how they would promote these things. So one said, okay, we could have a creative arts club, and invite others to come and be a part of that club. So it's quite a bit of work that goes into Support Our Youth Month. But I'm happy we do it every year for 15 years now.
That's amazing. You should be very proud of yourself because this is a very, I mean, it's a noble thing. The children are the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said a lot of key things in that opening right there. And for me, part of it was when it comes to the constructive use of time, that being your theme for this year. When I look back at my own childhood, and I'm not sure what yours was like, but with my own, I was definitely involved in dance and in sports, and it was 6 days a week I was busy with things.
Right.
Granted, sports through school, it wasn't something that your parent had to pay for necessarily.
True.
Maybe the helping with the uniform and your sneakers or something, but the school usually handled the rest. So that was, it alleviated any costs, and I became involved in the Boys and Girls Club in that sense. And again, that there was no cost for that. Having those resources, it kept you busy. And it really opened you up to people. It got you communicating a lot more, networking a lot more, and seeing opportunities.
Certainly.
Do you, so think about, your own childhood, was it similar to that?
That is one of the things that the promoters of this asset building does. They said, think about your childhood, providing that you did have a childhood where you were actively involved. There are various things. I did sports as well. I did, and when I think back, those were the times that helped me to build my confidence.
Yes.
My mother was adamant that myself and my siblings did music, so I had to do piano lessons and all of those things. And then we did choir, and we had youth group. And so those things kept us occupied, kept us going, So she didn't know that at the time she was our asset builder, right?
Right.
But it's very important for people in the community to champion these things.
Right, I think so too. Do you believe the youth in our community have as much access today as we might have had in our childhood, or is there perhaps more access to these kinds of resources?
There's a lot of things going on, but access I can't speak to, because there are some districts that don't have activities, intentional activities on an ongoing basis outside of school time or shortly after school, like on the weekends. And when I say access, I'm talking about more than just sports.
Right.
Okay, so you do have some sports activities that take place on the weekend, but if you're interested in art or theater or drama, whatever, like something like that, you have to come to where it is in town or central. But in terms of specific things happening in the districts, that seems to be short.
Interesting. That's a good point. You also made a point about the role that the youth play in their community. And just coming off of, we know that yesterday was the deadline for elections, and I would hear from a lot of younger people under the age of 24, that was the lowest number that we had registered for electors. And a common question that was floating around was, how are you involved in your community, and are you encouraged to be involved in your community from a younger age?
Empowerment.
Yeah.
One of the assets is service to others.
How, so from a teenager years, maybe even a little younger, how are some of the ways that the youth do get involved in their community?
So one of the things that we do with our summer camp, which is Fearless Extreme, the camp is actually around the assets. So every day there's a focus on the assets and making right choices. So when we do service to others, we do a project as a part of camp. So last year what we did was they prepared care packages for the mental health day center and some encouragement cards for Alex Place.
Oh,
and
I like that. That's really great.
And there were other projects that they did. They did flower pots for Jasmine. They did flower pots for the Pines at one point. So we have them doing different types of projects each year, but especially depending on what we're focusing on. And we're focusing a bit on mental wellness, because positive identity is part of the internal assets, which is personal power, self-esteem, seeing your future positively. Those are a part of the internal, which when you don't have a sense of purpose, your mental state tends to be low, right?
Yes.
So that was one of the things that we focus on how you can encourage other people. So we had kids that wrote on encouraging about suicide, spoke about their experience, and wrote based on that. So it's a myriad of stuff that we cover.
That can be some people would consider it very taboo, and we don't really have those discussions, with the youth. But it's so important, and I love how you do encourage that, as you said, with your camp. So it is just really important to get that dialogue going, that communication going, because then you really get to see how the youth are feeling, what barriers they might be facing, and whether it's self-development, community development, their own school development.
One of the key things in terms of the terminology of village raising child, it is very important to understand that no one entity, no one person, not even parents, can fulfill all of the assets. Parents can't create their own youth programs and make sure their children are involved, which some, may very well be creative to do so if they have the time. But the majority of our parents are working, right? Full time. So we depend on the youth programs, like YMCA. But YMCA cannot provide the family support that they need from their families, right? The religious community, there's stuff that they can do, but there's stuff that they don't necessarily have within their ambit to do, basically, as a part of their programming. But it's very important for us to understand that we need all of these things to play a part, because the more assets a young person has, the more likely they are to succeed, the less likely they are to gravitate towards drugs and violence.
Right.
And that's what, and if you don't remember anything else, remember that the more of these things the young people have, the more likely they are to succeed, and the more likely they are to stay away from drugs and violence. And that's why it sometimes appalls me that people don't get the concept and they don't understand. It's not about you in your own silos. It's not about you in your own area. But all of us is important to make sure that we're doing our part. But understand the concept. We need to collaborate and come together. So the event on February 1st, we had to shift it to February 1st from the 18th, is to bring together all these different organizations so that you can see in one space different organizations that would cover all of the different assets. So, for example, National Drug Council, restraint is an asset. So staying away from drugs and the things that doesn't necessarily help you to grow. And then, like example, ISIVCF, inter-school, inter-varsity, Christian Fellowship, which is a group within the high schools and college, which is young people, from a religious perspective. They're in there for youth programs as from a religious perspective. So if you're a Christian and you want to go to that program, you can go. And so a myriad of different organizations come together in one space so that people can come and see what is provided, what is available. And then there's opportunity to network as well amongst the service providers. So it's happening at the Signal House. We're grateful for Enterprise Cayman and Pure Air, which is sponsoring that. And so we're looking forward to that, having it there at that venue. Really lovely venue. Planning for Youth Success was sponsored by DART and Queensgate, our faithful sponsors. CUC this year, Ministry of Tourism and Ports. So we're really grateful to have had that collaboration of sponsors. And we have some smaller sponsors as well, which is our $1 a day Project 365 sponsors.
Okay.
And since we're on a business buzz, we do need more Project 365 sponsors. So it's $1 a day basically. And if you want to just give $30 per month, you can also do that and stretch it out for the year, or just give the one time for the year. So we're really grateful to Acorn Media Group and Island Cleaners and a lot of others that give to our Project 365 as well.
I love it. I think it's such a great thing that you're doing, that you're trying to organize, and you're trying to really just help the youth, and also get all the different agencies involved to say, hey, this is how we can complement each other and help each other and understand where we might be, I guess, failing or lacking.
Right.
So that kind of conversation is very important to have. We have to go to our first commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
After much hard work and planning, the first agriculture show was held on Ash Wednesday, 1967, on the school grounds behind the Georgetown Public Library. When school finished on the Tuesday, work crews worked through the afternoon and night to set up the grounds for the 9 a.m. start to the show. The first agriculture show was a tremendous success and would become an annual event, growing so large that after several years, the show was moved to a new larger location on the grounds on Walker's Road. Success would continue, and as the show grew, it was moved to the cricket grounds near the Smith Road Oval. However, the Civil Aviation Department was not in favor of the location, and property was subsequently purchased in Lower Valley in the early 70s, and the show found its current home once construction of the Stacy Waller Pavilion was completed.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced courtesy of Mr. Charles Lindbergh Eden, The History of Agriculture, 50th Annual Agriculture Show magazine.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future,
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance,
or protecting your family's household investment.
from our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Monday, January 20th between 9 a.m. and 12 noon on Legacy Drive and the Light of the Word Church off Crew Road in Georgetown. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200, email service@cuc.ky, or visit their website at www.cuc-cayman.com.
The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. And in studio with me, I have Dr. Sylvia Wilks. We are talking about really Youth Month, and we were just talking about Youth Day. And let's go back to a little bit about Youth Day here, because that's where we ended off right before the commercial break. What can attendees expect on Youth Day when they come? Any special activities or performances? And who is our target audience for that day?
Well, the target audience is everybody.
Okay.
Everybody needs to be aware of these principles that help our young people to succeed. If you are a parent and you want to know what your children should be doing, what activities they should be involved in, this is a good place to come. If you are an organization wanting to network with other organizations, this is a good place to come. I remember last year, one of the organizations, a Rotarian, met this individual and invited her, because she didn't know that organization existed, invited her to speak, and that led into other opportunities.
Wonderful.
So that's a good opportunity for organizations. So if you've received email from me already and you've not responded, please do so. Just saying.
That's your hint.
Yeah, but also, individuals who want to volunteer, who want an opportunity to volunteer with organizations and haven't, found one yet. This is an opportunity as well. Other individuals who work with young people and want to know what's available, what's out there as well. This is a good place to come and see these organizations. What I want to do this year, because it was Planning for Youth Success Conference and Celebrate Our Youth Day in one. That didn't work out the last 2 years, so we split the events to have the Planning for Youth Success Conference on Monday, so that's gone. So now we're concentrating on Celebrate Our Youth Day. So what we want to do throughout the day, starting with the support assets and go through the external and then to the internal, is do a show and tell. So each organization will have an opportunity to speak about what they do and how their services impact our community, etc. So persons will have an opportunity to hear directly from them. So just like how in school you have to do a show and tell, you carry an object or you carry something and you speak about it, each organization will have an opportunity to do that. Plus, I'm encouraging them to do activities within their booths as well, as relates to that particular asset that they're representing, so as to highlight that. And that's an opportunity for young people to register, sign up for programs, learn more about the programs, as well, again, as parents learning about these things. What I would love to see is those who are running for election this year to come and find out more about the developmental assets. If there are some individuals who has been a part of our organization, have been a part of some of the events, and every year after every election cycle, we have the proclamation that was signed in 2010. We have a re-signing of the proclamation. So the internal assets are signed by the young people. The last one in 2022 was signed by Clifton Hunter and John Gray High School students, and all of the relevant ministers at the time all signed it. The one that has been most consistent is the deputy governor, because he, obviously he's not voted in, right? So he has signed it since 2010. 2012 was when we did had everybody else sign the proclamation. So ever since that, we have the governor, everybody that's relevant, because safety is an asset, and the role that the governor plays where that's concerned. So the previous one signed it. So we're looking forward to the new governor signing on the proclamation, if she so chooses. Other relevant ministries, youth, education. So, but what I'm going to do for the next 4 years is to keep them more accountable as it relates to the developmental assets. Because again, if these are the things that help our young people to succeed and stay away from drugs and violence, obviously everybody should be a part of it. So I would love to see those who are currently MPs bus their people from their district, especially those who don't have transportation, come to the event, expose your people to the things that will help their children succeed. So it's like being intentional, or we take the event to your district. I'm encouraging communities to be intentional like that as well. Invite these organizations to come to your district and speak to the people directly in your district.
You said so many things once again that I absolutely loved right there, especially holding our MPs accountable for a lot of the promises that they'll make when it comes to, you just said, developmental assets. So if we say that we are building and protecting this country for the future, right now and for the future, we need a lot more involvement in the youth.
Certainly.
Whether they can vote for you right now or not should not matter, because that is the future. And what are we leaving for them? What opportunities are we building for them? And this is a great way, in my opinion, to get involved.
Right. Let me tell you something that's interesting. I'm currently an adjunct lecturer right,
Yes.
with UCCI. And one of the subject matters I'm teaching is marriage and family because I did my master's in marriage and family studies. And the textbook I'm using, don't ask me the name of it though.
It's all right.
Yeah. But anyway, the textbook I'm using has the developmental assets mentioned in there.
Okay.
When I saw that, because it talks about changing social environment,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, are you kidding me? And they actually mentioned this model and I was never familiar with before, family democracy model. I'm like, wow.
Can you break it down?
It's like getting the community to understand the importance of family, the importance of coming together. And for a small country like Cayman, we have a large immigration situation because we've developed quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
If we're not intentional, because it's not like the States where people immigrate and then you have people in different states, and because it's a huge place, it's a small place. So what happens in East End, you hear about it in Georgetown within seconds. So a lot of things impact us, right? So when you have that, you need to be intentional about the environment that you're creating in each of these areas. What is happening with the families? What is happening within the more concentrated areas like Georgetown, right? Because people are either coming with their families or not. What is that doing to the community, right? How spread out? I'm not a town planner, right?
Right.
But somebody, you know that people are still going to function like human beings when, it doesn't matter, if they're here for 1 year, 2 years or whatever. So how does that impact them? How does that impact those who they're around? And so being intentional about the activities for families, whether they're from here or not, because it does impact our framework here.
Again, another great point, because we talk a lot about community, how important it is to have a sense of community, whether, somebody might be struggling with mental health things,
Right.
or a sickness, a different illness, and you want to know other people's experiences and feel a support. But community really does, in my opinion, essentially start from the family, and how you're able to support each other and build each other and communicate with each other, and then it's a domino effect from there.
We can't allow the economic drive that Cayman has developed to crush family life and community life, because the mental health issue that everybody else is talking about, if we double back, look at what's happening within the family context.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so what we're crying out for, we're actually causing
Yeah.
by not being intentional. So that if you're going to remove certain things, make sure you have intentional activities in place. Like, for example, when I went to college, I was at almost every event. Why? Because they were free. Yeah. You have a college with thousands of young adults. If you don't have anything for them to do, hello, you're gonna have problems. So you have to have things for people to develop and grow and be engaged and be a part of a community.
Absolutely.
So it's not so that those who feel that, so they don't feel, okay, I'm just here to work and I go back, send my money back home, I don't have to be a part of this. No, you're a part of us. So be involved as well, because it keeps the community together, so that we're able to live peaceable lives.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on this. We have a minute left.
Oh my goodness.
Can you believe that?
Look at that.
It's a great conversation. That time flew by. I barely got to ask you everything that I'd set out to ask you. So you got a minute. If you can tell us, remind us about the important information if people want to look to see what is going on for Youth Month right now, Youth Day, which is going to be February 1st. Please let us know what we got to know in a minute.
So the theme of this year is Time to Thrive.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, time to thrive.
It's
Okay.
time to thrive. We want our young people to succeed. We all do. But we need to ask ourselves the question, how? How does that happen? All of us need to be involved. All of us need to be a part of the village that we continue to talk about. So Celebrate Our Youth Day is September. Why am I
It's
going
February.
so far?
Wait,
February 1st. September's on my mind. February 1st, 11:30 to 3:30 at the Signal House on Fairbanks Road. You pass the Fairbanks Prison and the Signal House, that beautiful building. They're going to have different organizations there. Family Resource Center, ISIVCF, National Drug Council, all those organizations will be there. So you need to come to find out what your young people should be doing, get them involved, meet the people who are a part of these organizations. We look forward to seeing everybody there.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Is there a website or social media pages they can go to?
Yeah, there's supportingcaymanyouth.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Wilks, for joining
Thank you
me
for
this
having
morning.
me.
I wish it could be a longer conversation.
I
You were
know.
absolutely great. It was very interesting to speak with you. We're going to go to the 8 a.m. news.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Dr. Sylvia Wilks. Studio time now is a minute after 8, brought to you with the kind compliments of Foster's.
When you're on the go, let the Island Supermarket shop for you.
To start, head to fosters.ky/go.
Then shop all your favorite products online, from produce and seafood to grocery and frozen, all picked by our team of shoppers ready to go.
Choose next day curbside pickup from Foster's Camana Bay or delivery island-wide.
To get your order started, visit fosters.ky/go.
This is groceries on the go.
And we are Foster's Go. Shop online anytime.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. Works are planned for George Dixon Park. Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller has the details.
A call is out for site preparation and fill work for the George Dixon Park in East End. The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage's tender on government's Bonfire Hub procurement site says it's looking to employ the services of contractor to strip and fill about 14,500 square feet of land. Deliverables include site management costs for things like site amenities, insurances, and foremen for the work, along with site preparation and filling work to include the relocation of the existing birdhouse, the removal of topsoil about 6 inches deep from the proposed multi-purpose court footprint, and fill in compact Cayman rock that's about 1.5 feet deep across the site area. Captain George Dixon Park is located just off Seaview Road and is a community park with all the standard amenities, including slides, swings, climbing frames, and barbecue facilities. The deadline to apply is January 30th. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Carsley Fuller.
We got through the deadline to register to vote. Now, the deadline for students wanting financial support to go to school overseas is creeping up. Here's CITTV's Donna Bush.
Applicants for government scholarships to study abroad have until January 31st to submit their applications. Scholarship Secretariat Manager Ms. Shari Smith provides further details for those who meet the eligibility criteria.
The Ministry of Education Overseas Scholarship is currently open for funding in September 2025 and it closes January 31st. So the Overseas Scholarship covers any institution that's outside of the Cayman Islands. We often find overseas undergraduates going overseas to on campus, but of course there are options and situations where they may be doing their first degree online, as well as postgrads can be online or on campus. It's an academic scholarship, so it's based on your academic performance. So applicants will need to have proof of their academic performance, which would be their high school transcripts up until the fall term. And then if you're a mature applicant, then what we would want to see is your resume showing the various work experience to support your application for the program that you're applying for. So school transcripts are something you need to get. Your right to be Caymanian or proof that you are a Caymanian document from WORC is the second thing that usually can take some time. If you don't have it, what you can do is make a copy of your application and have WORC just sign the date that you submitted it and upload that to the platform. Our website is moescholarships.gov.ky, and on that site you will find a page called FAQs, and it's about 20 to 30 questions. So a lot of the information and the questions that we get, whether via email or phone, are answered in those FAQs. That actually is the first part of this application. is that you are signing off that you have read the FAQs to ensure that you understand all of the eligibility requirements.
Ms. Smith highlighted that the Cayman Islands is among the very few, if not the only governments in the region to offer such a unique opportunity.
CIGTV's Donna Bush there. That's your local news at this hour. I'm April Cummings. Now to the BBC for stories making headlines around the world.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. Israel has accused Hamas of backtracking on the Gaza ceasefire deal, saying it was trying to extract concessions. A BBC correspondent says the group is trying to get one or two of its commanders on the list of prisoners to be freed. In Gaza itself, Israel has continued to carry out strikes, with officials saying there more than 70 people have been killed. Large amounts of aid are being prepared for the territory. Jordan is sending more than 120 trucks carrying food, medical supplies and fuel. The EU said it would give $123 million for humanitarian aid. The suspended president of South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, has again refused to answer questions about his attempt to impose martial law. He was arrested on Wednesday on charges of insurrection and abuse of power. Sudan's army chief has set up a committee to investigate possible human rights abuses committed during his force's recapture of the city of Wad Madani. It will examine events at Camp Taiba in Jazeera State. On a visit to Ukraine, the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has promised long-term support. He's signed a deal on long-term economic and military aid. There's concern the incoming US administration could reduce support. President Biden has issued an executive order strengthening America's defensive against cyber attacks. It seeks to make it costlier and harder for foreign state actors and ransomware criminals to hack US government agencies, critical infrastructure and businesses. Sri Lanka says it's secured its biggest ever foreign investment after signing a deal with the Chinese state-run oil giant Sinopec. The company will build a refinery in the southern Hambantota region, with a substantial portion of output being earmarked for export. And Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket has successfully reached orbit on its delayed inaugural flight, but the spacecraft failed to land as scheduled on an offshore platform. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
You're invited to join the March for Jesus in Cayman Brac on Saturday, the 25th of January, starting at 4 p.m. at the Port Authority and then going down to Watering Place Gardens, followed by the praise and worship concert at the same venue starting at 6 p.m. Together, let's march for Jesus. For more info, visit www.christian.ky and click on the March for Jesus tab. Jesus is our only hope.
Experience the soulful fusion of reggae and jazz with Benil Miller and his reggae orchestra at the 2025 Cayman Arts Festival. The multi-talented singer, songwriter and instrumentalist known for his unique blend of roots reggae, modern Caribbean and jazz. Saturday, February 15th at 7 p.m. at the Harkfield Theatre. Tickets are just $40 for adults and $15 for students. Call 922-5550 or email inquiries at CaymanArtsFestival.com for more details.
Radio Biggest variety in the morning.
RC Fusion.
Following the 10 a.m. news headline.
Brought to you by TCE Paint Shop, 27 Godfrey Dixon Way.
RC Fusion.
The Georgetown Farmers Market. It's time you start eating local. The market at the Cricket Grounds.
My Kinda Cleaners. Call or WhatsApp 326-3379 for your free quote today. Ministry of Planning, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Transportation, and Development. Also brought to you by Rosanna Dixon Insurance. Protect your family with critical illness coverage. Call Rosanna Dixon at 547-0952. Biggest variety in the morning. Radio K-Man.
Pastor, good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Synopsis indicate a ridge of high pressure across the northern Caribbean will continue to support moderate to locally fresh winds through this afternoon. A gradual decrease in winds and seas is expected thereafter as the high pressure system begins to weaken and move into the western Atlantic Ocean, weakening the pressure gradient across the Cayman area. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will be in the low 80s today. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, becoming 5 to 10 knots later this afternoon, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Forecast for tonight calling for mainly fair skies with a 20% chance of showers and temperatures dipping to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 11:25, low tide this evening at 5:44, and a high tide again tonight at 11:32. The sun will set this evening at 7 minutes after 6 and will rise tomorrow morning at 3 minutes past 7. And the outlook is calling for a continued decrease in winds and seas through Friday. Thereafter, light winds and slight seas are expected to prevail through Sunday morning. A slight increased chance for cloudiness and showers is possible on Saturday afternoon as a weak trough moves across the western Caribbean. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Checking in on your traffic. Coming from the east, especially on the Linford-Pearson Highway, steady traffic. Slow-moving traffic on Crew Road heading to Georgetown. Eastbound traffic on Crew Road is moderate, as well as flowing smoothly coming from the Westway four-way stop. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, moderate flow of traffic in both directions. And on the Westway Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moving along at a good pace in both directions. Coming off of the Esler-Tibbetts Highway, steady but flowing traffic, continuing onto Northstown Road, Industrial Park area, moving on moderately. If you see any accidents or incidents, please give us a call here at Radio K-Man 949-6990. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Have a good morning and drive safe.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Be part of the 2025 Chamber Economic Forum on Friday, 17th of January at the Kimpton Seafire. Join world-renowned economist Marla Ducarin, government leaders, and business experts as we explore the future of Cayman's economy. From workforce innovation to tourism sustainability, this is where bold ideas turn into action. Celebrate progress and 60 years of the Chamber's leadership and service to our community. Sponsored by CUC, DART, Health City Cayman Islands, and the Ministry of Tourism and Ports. Register now at caymanchamber.ky. Don't miss it.
The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in the second segment of the show, I am welcoming Karen Cole. She's the founder of Piece of Property. We're going to be talking about navigating the Cayman property market in 2025 and get some expert tips for property owners and stratas. Good morning, Karen. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. I know you reached out to me a few months ago and we said, yeah, we're going to get this done.
Yes.
And so people know a little bit of background. I know you after I joined the SIMP organization, and you were an instrumental part in getting our accounting done.
Yes.
And all the rest. So that's how we developed a relationship.
That's correct. Yes, through SIMPA, doing the accounting and going to events and just getting everything organized.
Yeah, and you've been super helpful.
Oh,
super
thank you.
fast,
Thank
efficient, and helpful in that regard.
Oh,
so.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to help, and that's what Piece of Property is all about.
Yes. So give us a little bit of background as to who Karen Cole is and what inspired you to start your boutique property management company.
Okay. Well, I moved to Cayman in February 2005, shortly after Hurricane Ivan hit. Because
Me too.
Yes, believe it or not, we've got a lot more in common than
Yeah.
you think. We're always, I tell you,
I
it's just a
know.
thing with us. We're connected, honey, from another life or something. But when I moved here, it was because they needed accountants, right? Because my background has always been accounting. I went to school for accounting, did my degree in accounting, and I got my professional qualifications in accounting as a CPA out of the United States.
Which is amazing. Congrats.
Thank you so much. So they needed accountants here in the Cayman Islands, and I started to work at Ernst & Young in the audit field. So that's really where it started for me here in Cayman. So I did audit for 2 years, and then after that you go out into the financial services industry, which is very common. That's what Cayman is known for. So went out in the financial services industry to see what it was like. So I did captive insurance, and it was nice, it was good, but it wasn't my passion because I'm not the typical accountant. I like to actually socialize, contrary to popular belief that all accountants just want to sit and look at spreadsheets all day. I do like the interaction. So while that was great, I was like, I want to get out of the financial services industry and I want to see what else I could do. So I ended up in working for a real estate development company. So that's where I kind of developed a love for property management, interior design, meeting people, going on construction sites, and I enjoyed that world, but I was still doing the accounting there.
Okay.
Yes, still was the accountant all the way through for years. And then fast forward to when I was the management accountant at Cayman Distributors Group, COVID hit. Everybody remembers that time. And I remembered, I was helping out a lot of stratas, including my own. And when we were all under lockdown, everybody was like, okay, well, I need help with this strata, and I need somebody to help me to do financial statements for that strata. So I was just kind of helping people out. And then it just dawned on me, maybe I should start up something in this field. Like, if people need help and I'm able to help them, and I can do it online from my home, because everybody's working from home,
right.
I think this might be something that I could start, like really develop as a business. So I was still working, doing my 9 to 5, and then during COVID, some thoughts creeped up in my head, and I said, why not just start up a company called Piece of Property, and let's offer strata services, accounting services, and vacation rental and long-term rental services. So that's kind of like how everything started, like from me being an accountant, getting involved in property management and stratas. Because when people met me, they were like, well, you have such a great personality. Why don't you just do it? Interact with more people if that's what you like to do. Because I do like to interact with people. But you do. Yeah, but you can still be your accountant. You have that. You've done that for years. You can do that with your eyes closed. So merge the two. And I was thinking about it, and I said, yep, that's definitely me for sure.
I love that story. I think that's a great story. It's super inspiring.
Thank you.
And it's interesting because when you say that when COVID hit and you saw where your services could be needed and how you were helping people, COVID was really a time. COVID's still around, but we know when we say COVID and lockdown, we know exactly what we're referring to, those few years there.
Yes.
And it was really a time that either just completely broke people.
Yes,
I agree
with
their
you.
spirit and just really not knowing, I guess, where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, it also really propelled some people.
100%.
And that's what happened to you. You were
For
like,
me,
you pivoted.
Yes, for me, it was actually one of the best things that could have happened to me. But I know for a lot of people, it was not that great of an experience. But for me, it was.
Mm-hmm.
So life is all about how you look at it. So for me, I definitely pivoted, and I decided to take the risk, and I left my 9-to-5 job and decided to form the company.
That's interesting because last night I had a conversation with somebody, and he was telling me that when Ivan hit Cayman, his mom sent him and his siblings off island, but she boomed in business. She just, I guess she had I think it was a cell phone company.
Oh my goodness.
Not like selling cell phones.
I know.
Not a network, I should say, per se. But that she just boomed, and she did really, really well during that time. So when it was a time of huge, tremendous loss, she was also able to pivot. And I'm just like, how do people find this within themselves to be able to say, hey, it's a bit of a disaster right now, but I'm going to make the best of it and see what I can do right now. So I think that's tremendous, Karen. I think you have a lot of kind of lessons you can inspire people with.
Well, I'm glad. If I can inspire anybody, that's a blessing to me. Yeah, because life is never going to be smooth sailing. It's never going to be great, and it's not going to be all sunshine and butterflies. So when you have the low moments, let's not call it low moments. They're teachable moments. You just kind of say, okay, what is this trying to teach me? Let me just take a deep breath and figure it out.
I like how you frame that. Teachable moments.
Thank you.
That was a great way to say that.
It really is that.
It is all about reframing, and that's exactly what you did. You reframed.
I did. So that's how Piece of Property came to be.
When you were in one of the big four firms when it came to accounting, right?
Yes.
So you said Ernst & Young.
Ernst & Young here in Cayman, PricewaterhouseCoopers back in Jamaica.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you were in two of them, two of the big four.
Yes. Yes.
That's very impressive.
Thank you.
That's also a very stable career because that's a lot of people's aim is to get in there, build in there and whatnot, right?
Yes.
So again, you took a chance, but it was you saying, okay, I'm more of a social person. So how did you find, I guess, company culture being different from being involved in a big four firm to going to a property development company and doing accounting there? How did you find the difference in company culture?
Huge difference.
What did that mean for you as well?
Okay, so the big difference is in the big fours, there was always this expectation that you had to be a certain way, You have to make sure that you dress a certain way, wear these colors. This is in my day. I don't know how it is in 2025 that we're in now, but they were like, oh, when you go to the clients, only wear black, and grays, just like lawyers, when you wear your suits, it's only black suits and grays, and I was never like that. So I was like, why do I have to wear black? Why do I have to wear gray? That I would always ask the questions, in the big four companies.
Good for you.
So
that sounds so dismal.
Thank you. I'm like, black, that kind of reminds me of just mourning somebody that passed away. Like, why? So very much trying to mold you to be something that maybe you're not. If you have a personality that's outgoing and you like to wear colors and you're more fashionable, big fours tended to kind of tell you or try to mold you how in a certain way and how to be in front of the client. And whilst I understand that you need to be professional and present yourself in a very professional manner, I didn't like the fact that you had to conform to being something that you weren't necessarily comfortable being a part of. So for me, I wanted to wear bright colors, and I would always be like, so when is our next social event? Like, we can't just always be crunching numbers like 24/7. It's not gonna be healthy for us. I mean, this was even before mental health was a thing, but I already knew that for me, I could never just sit down all day and just be crunching numbers and weekends, because of the high season and all the deadlines we had to meet.
Right.
I said, no, we need a break. So the Big Four is very much like you have to just be like a machine almost, and you better just crunch the numbers, get out those deliverables. The deliverables are like the financial statements, the reports, everything, get them out and move on to the next, you know. So it was almost very robotic, and I didn't enjoy that. I like a break and to do something and refresh and come back. So Big Four companies are like that. And then when I went to working at a development company, like a real estate development company, it was fantastic. So I would do the accounting, no problem. Be in the office, be in front of the spreadsheets, crunch the numbers. But then they'll be like, oh gosh, we need to go out to a construction site to check out what's happening here. Love that, because then I would be like, okay, great mental break for me. Jump in a car, drive out to a site, see what's going on. You can connect the dots between what I'm crunching on the spreadsheets numbers wise when it comes to, oh, I'm paying this supplier, that contractor. Oh, but then guess what? I get to meet that contractor. Oh, it's great to meet you. How are you doing? I'm Karen. I'm the accountant. I'm the person that's paying you. So let's have a great relationship. You crack a joke. You know, it's fantastic. And then I found it made our lives easier because they got to know me. I knew them. And it worked. So that's the difference. And then for me, it made me realize that, okay, this is who I am. I found myself. I knew what I liked. I knew what I didn't like. And then after that, I was like, you know what, Karen? Anything that makes you comfortable, go with it. Move forward with it. If you're not a Big Four person, you don't have to be a partner at an Ernst & Young or PricewaterhouseCoopers. That was another expectation. Once you come in as a trainee, work your way up to being a partner. Not everybody's going to be a partner.
Right.
And it's okay.
Right.
And when I left and I moved on, that's the lesson I learned.
And there's something else that we share. It's the I'm not going to conform to the rigidity of things.
Yes.
I believe in absolutely pursuing your passions and the things that bring you joy.
Absolutely.
That you enjoy doing. Absolutely. And I know some people listening might say, but a lot of us don't have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever your circumstances might have been growing up in Jamaica and the educational opportunities given to you, you did take a certain path and you had to work very hard.
Oh,
especially
very
getting
hard.
your CPA is
Very
very
hard. And nothing was given to me. And I didn't come from a rich family. We were okay. We weren't poor, but we certainly weren't rich. I didn't have a family business to fall back on. Nothing. It's just your mindset. If you want to do something, if you have a love for something, just do it. That's where it starts. Do you need to do a job that you don't like first, until you can get there? Absolutely.
A lot of us have. I used to cut fiberglass.
Oh, gosh.
For snowboards for like a couple years. Who wants to, you have to go in a big suit and cut fiberglass. And I mean, I love to snowboard, but that part was not sexy. It was, I almost blinded myself once with fiberglass going to my eyes. It was terrible. But, it was an experience, and it was just so many jobs you learn, but the figuring out what your passion is and what you enjoy doing, I think, is so crucial, because so many of the times we get stuck, or we think we're stuck in a certain career, and we can't pivot from that.
We can't, and a lot of people are in jobs that they're not happy with, and they stay there for a long time. And whilst I can understand that, never think that you have to stay. You can just figure out a way to get out when the time is right.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to go to our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the services, what Piece of Property offers.
Okay, wonderful.
Go more into the business side now. Now that we got that background out of the way, we'll go into the services side.
Sounds good.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Cayman Vets has doubled their reward money for a missing dog. A $10,000 reward is now up for the return of a missing dog that goes by the name of Spiky Haggis. No questions will be asked and no further action will be taken if Spiky is safely returned. The $10,000 reward is for a limited time only. Spiky is blonde in color and is a Pomeranian mix with a distinctive scar above his left hip. Spiky went missing mid-November in the area of Selkirk Drive and Bimini Drive. Cayman Vets is asking that if you have seen Spiky, a blonde Pomeranian mixed dog, to please call or take a picture and send it to 525-5838. That's 525-5838.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in the studio, I'm happy to say I have a friend of mine, Karen Cole. She is the founder of Piece of Property. We got into a little bit of a history with Karen and being able to pivot, a little bit of an inspirational talk right there, pivoting in your career and being able to follow something you love, which is what she's done as she's been able to open Piece of Property. And our topic really now, we're going to get into it more heavily,
All right.
is navigating the Cayman property market in 2025 and expert tips for property owners and stratas. So Karen, I know a little bit of what you do, but can you talk about the specific services that your company offers to residential property owners and stratas?
Okay. So Piece of Property provides accounting services and property management services. So you can, if you just want accounting services, I can just do that for you. If you just want property management services, I can just do that for you as well. But if you need both property management and accounting services, I'm the one-stop shop for that. So for vacation rental properties, so that's Airbnbs and VRBO rentals. If you have a vacation rental, but you live overseas, but you have property here in Cayman and you need somebody to manage that, I can do the guest check-ins, the guest checkouts. I can make sure that they're all comfortable, the cleaning, monitor the Airbnb correspondences, deal with their complaints, whatever the case may be, deal with the maintenance, landscaping. Piece of Property can do that. For the long-term rentals, we can find the tenant for you, we can screen them, we can do all the background work, we can do the lease agreements. I can deal with the payments of any expenses that need to be done, like for repairs and maintenance, for contractors to come in. We can make all the arrangements so that it's nice and smooth and it is stress-free, because it can be very stressful to deal with and navigate, dealing with contractors and tenant complaints and guest complaints and all of that. And then for stratas as well, that's where I think both is always needed sometimes, because stratas, they need the accountants to do the financial reports for the stratas for their annual general meetings, but they also have the property management side that you need to manage, the landscaping, the pool cleaning and all of that. Piece of Property can deal with that as well. And from an accounting perspective, I can do budgets, cash flow, day-to-day bookkeeping, data entry, pay the bills, make sure you get your accounts receivable reports, which list all the customers that owe you money. I can manage all of that for you, produce the monthly financial statements so you see how profitable, or in some cases not so profitable, your company is. We do it all, so it's a one-stop shop. So you don't have to go and find an accounting services company in one spot and then try and find a property management company in another spot and have to deal with two people. You can just deal with Piece of Property if you want both services.
Gives you a little bit of peace of mind right there.
Peace of mind, let me tell you. That's why I named the company Piece of Property. Have peace of mind with Piece of Property.
Yes. When you spoke about the screening, for example, one thing there when you're looking to screen tenants, I guess, what are you looking for?
Most importantly is their ability to be able to pay the rent on time. So you definitely want to look for the fact that they're employed. That's important, and that they've been in the job for a long period of time, a good amount of time. And then it's very important to also check their references from their previous landlords.
That doesn't happen a lot here.
Oh,
I know in Canada it's a crazy process.
Yeah, well, I do.
I feel like it doesn't happen a lot. Okay.
Well, I do that. I always get the references from their previous landlords, just to see what their landlords had to say and if they've been good at paying rent and all of that. If they're not, I'm not going to accept them
Mhm.
as a prospective tenant. It's not going to happen. So
Right.
that's what I make sure I do when I screen the tenants.
It can get a little tricky, especially with new people that are moving to the island, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to, okay, how long have you been in that job? I guess you have to make a little bit of a
There's
provision there for them.
Yes, I do. I do. So what I do is I definitely confirm that they're being employed at the company that they say they're being, employed at. And then, sometimes it's just a conversation to feel them out, see how you feel about them. And if I feel comfortable, that intuition that we have, it's a very, very good compass.
Yes.
And we should listen to it more often
Yes.
to determine if someone is a suitable tenant or prospective tenant. So yes, I've had to do that for the new expat that comes to the island to work. I do kind of let my moral compass, my intuition, whatever you want to call it, kind of guide me in making that decision as well. So that's a good point.
Okay. Now, stratas. I don't own property.
Right.
But I think, hopefully God blesses me with this opportunity to do so at some point in my future.
You will.
But that's the hope, and we have to manifest this.
Manifest
right?
it.
Reframe the mind and say I will get this instead
It's
of
going to
not going to happen. But if I was looking at something like getting a condo somewhere, an apartment somewhere, and strata's involved, I think one of the most common complaints I hear is that strata fees are so high.
Oh.
So what are people missing when it comes to understanding what is a part of strata? Like what the fees are? Can things be ridiculously high? Are those costs justified? Should it go up?
Very good question. So just as a general answer to that question, the main reason for the strata fees being as high as they are is because of the insurance right now. Insurance companies are increasing the premiums significantly because of the increase in the hurricane activity that we've been experiencing in the past, I would say, 2 to 3 years. I mean, we had a pretty active hurricane season in 2024, and even in months where it was like we didn't even expect it, because last year, June 1st.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was
the
like,
first week of June, for
when
sure.
normally you're kind of like, okay, September, I need to prep. Right? I know that's when one is coming. So that increases the hurricane activity, and then all insurance companies look at that and go, well, if they had one in June, and then you have another one all the way in November, okay, oh gosh, that means the risks are going to increase, so we have to jack up the premium, because when they go to their reinsurer, Lloyd's of London, for example, to negotiate policies, Lloyd's of London is going to say, this is an example of a reinsurer that most insurance companies here use, they're going to say, well, I'm sorry, we're going to have to increase the price. And it just trickles down to us. So that's one of the main contributing factors for the increase in strata fees in all stratas. Having said that, I do think insurance companies need to come together and understand that not all stratas are located on 7 Mile Beach and have a 7 Mile Beach budget that can accommodate these increased insurance premiums.
Or have the same risks as the places that are located along 7 Mile Beach or the coast period.
Absolutely correct. So I have been experiencing the insurance companies being a little too aggressive with this, oh, we're going to increase the premiums. And this is a strata, like if I deal with a strata that only has 10 units and they're not located on 7 Mile Beach, they're located, I don't know, Prospect to give an example, and they're inland, and yes, it's lowland, but I mean, they're not on a canal.
All of Cayman.
All of Cayman is lowland. But this is what they tell you, when you speak to the insurance company. But I said, I agree with you. Good point. It's flat here in Cayman. Like, what are you talking about? But, why do we have to pay this huge increase in premiums? I just don't understand it, So I feel like insurance companies need to kind of assist smaller stratas located in other areas of Cayman that's not located on the beachfront or a canal, and just kind of help in terms of making it more affordable, more economical for proprietors, because it is becoming very challenging. People are finding it the cost of living is very, very high in Cayman. And so people have children to feed, school fees to pay, they're battling with other things that they need to deal with, so it's a lot. So to go to them and say we have to increase strata fees is not the best conversation to have sometimes. So I just feel like that's a big issue with strata fees increasing. How can we help with that? I've gone to insurance companies and I've discussed with them, look, this is the situation, this strata cannot afford all of that, what can we do? And I will say there are some insurance companies that have helped, and they give you an option with condos to say, okay, with the condo policy, here, you know, you don't have to pay that much with this one, which is great. So if more insurance companies could do that, it would help out a lot of stratas. Another thing you can do to kind of help out so that things don't get ridiculous with strata fees increasing is, I've personally done this, is I cut down on expenses as much as I can in any strata. When somebody comes to me in a strata and they say, oh, we want, I don't know, for example, can we build a gazebo because we want... Do we need that, or is that just something that you want?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't need that, it would be nice, but if the strata doesn't need it, let's hold off on that. Like, let's just take a chill pill right now. Let's just make sure we can cover insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure we can cover the landscaping, do the necessary expenses, deal with that, and then in time, let's build up our reserve fund, our emergency fund, whatever you want to call it. And then if we have enough built up, then we can look into a gazebo. Then we can buy the things that you probably want to buy to improve the property, which is no problem. But to manage expectations, let's just cut the expenses down to the minimum.
Right.
So that's what I do.
What are the minimum expectations we should have from a strata?
Oh, landscaping, pool, maintenance, garbage collection. I think if you cover those three, and of course the insurance, let's not forget that. Those are but apart from insurance, those are the three main ones that if you have those covered, let's just keep it at that, and anything else after that is a bonus. You know, it's you know, what if we don't need it right now, let's not get it. That's what I say to some of the proprietors, because I understand sometimes we want to upgrade, we want to like live a certain life. I get it, but
security cameras might be a thing. Is that something that's a minimum expectation or an extra kind of want?
Good question. Depending on the circumstances, but generally speaking, that is an extra one. But where how things are changing in Cayman, maybe it's more of something that you need. The good thing about that is that the installation of security cameras is not as expensive as it used to be. So it's something that can be accommodated, and something that I would recommend, because I do think that safety is an important thing for anybody, and everybody needs to feel comfortable and secure in their home. So it's something you can definitely get done. So it's not as expensive as it used to be. So it could be a need. It could be a need in these times, unfortunately.
I mean, you schooled me a little bit on strata right here, which is good to know. The insurance, so is it the strata that decides the insurance for the entire complex? Or do you as a homeowner get to choose your own insurance? I have no idea.
No
so I'm
problem.
sorry, this is a basic
No, it's a great question. So the strata, okay, every strata has an executive committee, and the executive committee is the body that's responsible for governing the strata, right? So technically, the executive committee come together and they decide, we want to go with this insurance company or that insurance company. You know, they get quotes and stuff like that, and then they make the decision. And then at the annual general meeting, you present it to the owners and say, you know, these are the three insurance companies that we've decided to come up with. Can you vote now to say that you're okay with whichever one? And then once they vote, then you just go with that insurance company. So that's how that works. You know, you can't have everybody chipping in, or otherwise it's going to be like chaos. Everybody has a different opinion.
Too many I know what too many cooks in the kitchen is like, and you've never even picked up a spoon in your life.
Exactly.
I understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so it's best for the executive committee to meet, let them drill it down to 3.
Yes.
That's normally the rule of thumb, and then you just present it at a meeting, and then that's it. You vote, majority rules, and that's it.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Yes.
We're going to go to our next commercial break, and when we come back, we have so much still to talk about when it comes to piece of property.
No problem.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Business Buzz.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio with me, I have Karen Cole, founder of Piece of Property. It is a property management and accounting services boutique firm, all in one.
Thank you. That's right.
Does a little bit extra here and there as well with it, and we spoke about what some of those services are. And just to go back to that strata conversation that we were having, what advice would you give new property owners or strata boards who want to ensure that their properties are well managed?
Oh, very good question. My advice would be to always make sure, because the most important thing as a property owner and even being involved in a strata is to make sure the value of your property is going to be up there. You know, you want it to be very, very, very high in value. So how do you do that? Make sure that you keep maintenance going on a very frequent basis. Do not let things run down to the point of no return. Don't do that. If there are fixtures outside that are broken and need to be fixed, please get them fixed in a timely manner. You know, do not let the pool get to the point where, you know, water is leaking out of it because you haven't dealt with an issue that was quote unquote small to you in the first instance. Deal with it right away. Keep it going. Keep the pool area clean, keep the surroundings clean. These things will make the property look good, and then when valuators come out to value your property, they look at those things. So I would definitely say maintenance is key in terms of increasing the value of the property. Maintain the outside, keep the landscaping looking beautiful, fix the fixtures, whatever it is. Painting goes a long way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you start to see, I mean, I can't remember what it's called, but, you know, if the color of a building is green and then at the bottom of the wall you're seeing, like, these brown things coming up on it, can we get somebody out there to paint it, please, and make the place look good? Why does it have to be looking disgusting for 2 to 3 years?
Even power washing them.
You could simply do a power wash. Like, it's not rocket science, but these things will help to increase the value of your property. So that is my advice to anybody who's on a strata board and who's a property owner. Very important.
Right. That's just, you know, for single home dwellings as well. That's not just for condo complexes.
Not just for condos.
Complexes, yeah.
Single family homes, duplexes, keep the maintenance going.
That's very, very good advice. I like it. So from when you opened Piece of Property in 2021 to now, 2025, it's only been a few years, but there has been major changes in the real estate market in Cayman. How have you, I guess for you, what are some of the biggest shifts that you've seen? And how can, and what do you see, I guess, coming for 2025?
Biggest shifts. What I've seen a lot of is, one, the real estate market. The prices of rent is increasing. So that's a huge shift for people.
That's really hard, Karen, to deal with.
It's really hard. So what I'm finding is happening a lot is that a lot of people are asking about properties where they can share. So that's going on a lot. And understandably so, because of the increase in rental prices. It's difficult out there. Let's just be realistic about that. So that's definitely changed a lot. And it's a challenge, but, people can just, I tell people all the time, if you manage your budget, then maybe you could afford this unit, even though it's expensive. If you cut back on the wants, you could probably make it work. But if not, I can totally understand that. If you need a sharing situation, let's see if we can work that out as well. So that's changed a lot. But look at the boom as well. 2025, you're going to see a lot more properties coming up. You're going to see a lot more condos, lots of developments. Everywhere I turn now, I'm seeing a construction site. I'm seeing buildings going up left, right, and center. I'm just like, oh my goodness. So
I am thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like it, but I'm thankful in the sense of, okay, there is going to be more inventory.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So that you've got it, Kathy. You're on it.
Well, because I'm hoping the rent will go down, and that I don't have to pay a ridiculous rent. I'm going to say my landlords are working with me with things, and I'm very grateful for that.
Good.
But when it comes to it, I'm like, okay, so I could be paying this exact amount and have a much nicer place somewhere.
Yes.
And it's, it's those kind of things to balance. So I'm hoping the rent does go down. Do you foresee something like that?
I think so. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. A lot of construction is going on. There's going to be a lot of properties on inventory, and they're going to want to have to fill it up. So it will be for the prospective tenant. It's going to be more of a buyer's market.
Thank God. wait, no, yeah, the buyer's market. Yeah,
or the prospective tenants market.
Yes.
Because then they can say, no, I'm not going to pay that price. I can get another property right just down the road for a lot less, because there's so much inventory on the market. So I think 2025 will be better in terms of prices. I know for the financial institutions, the banks, they reduced their interest rate, by 0.5%. Sorry, so it's now 8%. Is like I believe is the interest rate for.
It went down by 0.75% in 20. I think it was 0.75, if not a full percent, but
okay,
at least 0.75 in 2024, because there was another drop. I think it was.
There was another one, right? Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So as you can see, that's a very good indication of how things are going to turn around in 2025. So I think it's a great thing. I look forward to that, so that people can now say, you know what, I'll be able to afford to pay this rent and not have to worry. And so that's how I foresee 2025 to be.
Do you see the property owners or even developers, perhaps, because you have some relationships with developers?
Yes.
Do you see, I guess, trends and things that they want going forward, as opposed to the tenants, right? The things that they want. It's a whole new era. Sustainability is a big thing. It's been a trending word for quite a few years now. Do you see kind of changes with that?
Yes, I see a lot of the developers kind of want to think more along the lines of solar panels to help with the reduction of utility bills, because it's so expensive. Everybody knows it's very expensive when it comes to electricity bills, especially during the summertime. So you hear a lot of talk about that, but then that in itself, it's very, for them sometimes, the developers, it's very, expensive to do and what have you. So I see and I hear them talking a lot about that. Some of them want to still get, of course, top dollar for their properties, but they know they'll have to see how it goes. They know that in 2025. So I think they're open, let's put it that way, to having the conversations with prospective buyers or tenants or whatever the case may be, because they see what's going on with all the construction. If they have to reduce rent, they're going to have to reduce rent. It's better to have half a loaf of bread than none at all, as we would say in Jamaica.
Yeah, I like the saying. Yeah,
so
I agree.
So I think there will be flexibility when it comes to the developers.
Okay. Well, let's switch to the vacation rental property, the Airbnb market as well.
Yes.
So you do deal with a lot of people that are coming, and
yes,
you're in communication with them, right? If what their complaints are.
Oh, yes.
They enjoy.
Yes.
What's their outlook in Cayman when they're coming to visit here and stay here a little bit? What's the feedback that they're giving you?
They love Cayman. But what I've been hearing a lot of, funny enough, a lot of them don't want to stay on 7 Mile Beach.
Really?
They don't. A lot of them are like, oh, it's too much hustle and bustle. I'm like, hustle and bustle.
Where do you want to stay then? Exactly.
But they like the eastern side of the island.
Okay.
They love Bodden Town. They love North Side. They love East End. They're like, it's quieter. It's like more homey. It's like it's like a neighborhood. I'm like, okay.
It is a lot more peaceful, yeah.
It is. So I hear a lot of that from the guests. They're like, oh, we don't like 7 Mile. Nope. Let's take me over to Bodden Town. I'm like, okay, whatever you want. So that is like a new thing. They do not, a lot of them don't like to see all the construction going on either on 7 Mile Beach with all the condos. Nope.
Right.
No, because they want to be able to walk and see the beach. I'm like, okay. So in Bodden Town, in East End, and in North Side, they can kind of see more like, oh, this is the local side of Cayman. You know, for them, 7 Mile Beach is too industrialized.
Right.
So I get a lot of that. And, you know, they just want the more peaceful, simple lifestyle in Cayman.
Do you think that has, I mean, I've heard people's response to it, so I feel like I already know this answer in my head, but from your perspective, do you think those Airbnb rentals, the vacation property rentals, have also made the rental market here in Cayman a lot more difficult for tenants like me?
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
It made it competitive in pricing.
Yes, it does. It does, because when you have an Airbnb owner who can make so much money in a short span of time in a short-term rental, and they have other units in the same area, and they want to rent it out on a long-term basis. Oh yes, they increase that rent to a ridiculous amount, and I've had to say to some of the property owners, I don't think that is reasonable. But then it's their property. They may not necessarily want to take my advice, and they decide that they're going to keep it at that because they're just looking at dollars.
And it's their choice,
It's
whether
their
they want to have an Airbnb or not, right?
Yes.
So that's the capitalism part and the freedom of choice there, right?
Exactly right. So,
Do you think we could have more, I guess, restrictions? I'm not entirely sure what is in place right now, but hey, we can only have a certain percentage of whatever available property that can go to Airbnb, or you need to meet certain different standards.
I think it should be regulated more on a personal, basis. But I don't think there's any regulation. But anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not 100% sure. I don't think there's any regulation in place right now that has any restrictions on the amount of Airbnb properties you can have. So
oh no,
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I don't.
I got to
know.
look into that more. Then
I will too as well.
Yeah.
Now that you're bringing up that topic, but I don't think there is. But I definitely deal with the licensing of the Airbnbs and the VRBO rentals. So that's another service I can provide as well. Let me just pop that in there.
That's great. Yeah, pop it in, girl.
So if you need your Airbnb to be licensed and inspected, because you have to go through a whole process.
Right. Understand that.
To be able to get your property, to do Airbnb and VRBO, so licensing, inspections, all of that, I can deal with that as well. I've done it for clients in the past. So if you don't want to deal with that stress and you want it to be a stress-free process for you, I can do that as well for you. So I mean, I definitely know there's certain guidelines that you have to meet and follow to get the Airbnb or the VRBO up and running. But I'm not sure if there's a restriction. But you said that you kind of have an idea. But let's look into that. Like, is there a restriction on the amount of Airbnbs? Because that could play a lot on the rental market.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And I'm sure the hotels would appreciate that a little bit more too. And they're popping up everywhere as well. But
they are popping up. So you're exactly right.
With Piece of Property, you're not just a property management company, as we've been saying. You offer those accounting services. But how do you think, because that property market, the property management market is going to open up more. There's going to be a lot more property management companies coming out, right?
Oh, yeah, there are.
What should property owners or even individuals, tenants perhaps, if they're looking to move into a new place to rent, or Airbnb, people who have Airbnbs, what should they be looking for when they're going to a property management company?
The property owners?
Yeah. What would you advise them to, hey, make sure this property management company has this in order?
Okay. Well, I would definitely say when it comes to the Airbnbs, the vacation rentals, you need a property management company that's going to be very responsive. You cannot sit on a complaint for more than 24 hours, in my opinion, right? If you're not, every guest is going to complain about something, right? Everybody's unique and whatever in their own little way. What may not bother me may bother you, right? So the property management company needs to know that with vacation rentals, on an everyday basis, when you're renting that property, there might be a complaint every single day, and they have to jump on it because reviews matter for your vacation rent. It's a huge. Let me tell you from experience, those reviews from those guests, it's super important. So I would definitely advise any property owner, when you're choosing your property management company, you just look into that property management company, look on, a property that they manage, look at the reviews they've gotten, what are the guests saying?
Mm-hmm.
If it's all great, I mean, obviously we may have one or two that, it's not going to be so great, that's normal, but if the majority are great and, the guests say that they're responsive, it's clean, it's this, that, great results and great reviews all the time, then go with that property management company.
Okay. We have not even a minute left, but we have a minute left, I'm going to say. So if there's anything you want people to know about Piece of Property, how to get in touch with you, anything like that, let us know.
Sure. Yes. So our website is www.peaceofpropertygroup.com, and it's peace as in serenity. So PEACE. And then you can follow us on Instagram at peaceof.property. So PEACE of .property. And please call me at 325-9957 if you have any questions or concerns.
I think it's wonderful to have you here this morning. I love how you offer the accounting services with the property management. I think that, to me, that differentiates you from a lot of companies out there. And you have to have a bit of a unique selling point.
That's
mine. I think that's one of them for you for sure. So
Thanks
you so
for
joining us this morning.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right, we're going to go to the 9 a.m. headline news.
The Business Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by JGP Janitorial. Lose the mop, they'll clean the slop. JGP Janitorial, 548-1221.
If they are talking about us.
Living in your head rent-free all this